I said it at the end of my last video before, and I'm gonna say it again. Sega, when it comes to Phantasy Star Online 2, absolutely needs to do better when it comes to their level of communication. I see other departments within Sega franchises and or subsidiary companies who have done considerably better when it comes to the level of communication that we're all looking for. When it comes to their franchises like Sonic, Yakuza, Persona, all of the teams behind those are very communicative when it comes to major issues, when it comes to streamers and or content creators, or even the community themselves. But those are single player games with different rules, guidelines, and everything of the sort. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, or Phantasy Star Online 2 even in base game, is an online game that we all know and love, and it's been a franchise that's been around for 9 years. And with New Genesis, for whatever reason, it seems like Sega's been dropping the ball even more so than normal. I do not think that that's entirely at fault to the global communication team, because you cannot attack social media managers or community managers in any way, shape, or form, as they're really just the messenger. That's about it. So honestly, when I see memes or anything of the sort, I know that there had to be some level of approval that went down that list. But much like I had said in the previous video, the global made a unique statement that was different from any of the Japanese ones previously. No, I'm not talking about the Steve Blue's Clues memes, which the entire internet has been memeing, even though it was an incredibly wholesome moment and no one can deny that. I'm talking about the 1,600 players that were suspended, chat banned, and or permanently banned. To begin the first part of this video, if anybody at Sega is actually listening or watching my videos, understand that this is not an attack on the company or anything of the sort. This is me providing feedback, as well as users being rightfully afraid of losing hundreds of dollars that they've put into their accounts. The sentiment that's gone across the entire community is no one wants to see this game fail for various reasons, whether it be due to lack of players, lack of monetization, or what have you. Despite some of the bad actors that are out there being incredibly vocal, you could definitely see the level of passion that everybody has been talking about. So let's start here. Recently, I received a message from a player who was actually banned. And I'm not talking about a chat ban or a 3-day suspension. I'm talking about permanently banned. They reached out to the support to say, hey, I was banned and I was just trying to figure out why. I removed that part of the email from the screen because it does contain some personal information. From there, they received this following message. It says, thank you for reaching out to us. After a thorough investigation of your account, we have found this account to be involved with saying extremely inappropriate comments. Due to this reason, we have permanently banned the account. Unfortunately, the account will remain banned. We apologize for the inconvenience. This is the message that everybody has been afraid of, because in this email prior to them logging in, there has been no word of this player even being banned, suspended, chat banned, or anything of the sort. And what defines inappropriate comments is definitely up in the air. Now imagine when 1,600 players, whether they know that they've been suspended, chat banned, or permanently banned or not, go up in arms. It's easy to see why a lot of these people have been actually frustrated and annoyed by Sega's response. It has nothing to do with the actual message, because everyone can agree that the message of banning players for hateful misconduct and or anything of the sort, such as racism, is in fact a good thing. And I don't think that anybody who's sane enough would argue against that. But the fact that there was no communication prior or anything of the sort that let them know until the time that they were attempting to log in, that's kind of the issue here. It reminds me of something that happened with Twitch recently. If for whatever reason you're living under a rock, Twitch is a live streaming service where people play video games, just chatting, and or every other form of entertainment under the broad spectrum of what entertainment and live streaming is. Twitch wound up having a very similar scenario where streamers were getting banned, and the emails that they were receiving, and notice that they were receiving emails in the first place, these emails did not provide enough context so that way they'd be able to protect themselves and prevent them from getting banned again. There were even moments, much like how people in the Phantasy Star Online 2 community were talking about, how people were using the automated system in which they were able to report en masse. Eventually, a lot of content creators wound up going up in arms saying, hey, you need to do better, Twitch, much like how they are currently right now, but that's not what this video is about. And Twitch eventually listened and then provided more context when it comes to these emails. These emails are now sent to you at the time of banning that give you a reason where the violation occurred, and then also the suspension length. Now that the game has gone global, the community is no longer small. This is done on a very large scale, and the global community is much more volatile when it comes to using the report features to be able to take advantage of them to get other players banned. It's also easy for players to be able to feel comfortable with someone and then get reported by that person they're comfortable with because they've been baited into saying something that they shouldn't have. So as things stand right now, with things being incredibly vague, people are worried that the systems are going to be abused. It could be abused even more easily due to the in-game report feature being that much easier than the one that's currently on the website. Basically, by going in game, all you have to do is right click the character name, and that's pretty much about it. Versus going into the actual website, you need all of this information, and the player ID can actually only be found back on base PSO2 by searching up their ARC's ID name and or character name or anything of the sort. While I used Twitch earlier, there are other games that do give you in-game examples, whether you go to log in the first time or they even send you emails. Use Final Fantasy XIV as an example. You would receive an email looking similar to this. That would then indicate that you've been banned for any number of the reasons that they would then list. Use Black Desert as an example. When you log in, you'll see error code 403 followed by a reason for the suspension, investigation, or even the ban. In Black Desert's case, they don't necessarily give you a time of length, but in Final Fantasy XIV's case, they do. And these are using modern games. I can only imagine how many other games such as RuneScape that can actually even go and find reasons people have been banned and or the reasons that then show in game why they've been banned. What players are asking for is what I've been advocating for quite some time: communication. Because if things aren't communicated properly, that leaves things open to interpretation, and that's what happens when we fall into the rabbit hole that we're currently in now, where players are against other players are against Sega, and everything of the sort. Players are finding every sort of reason to make the game entertaining for themselves, and then when messages like this, because it becomes such a heavy topic and it becomes such a strong topic for so long, no matter how right anybody is in either which side of the conversation, you wind up losing players or even subscribers or anything of the sort, because people are just tired of hearing the same things over and over because it's just no longer fun. And I honestly hope that somebody's able to listen to these words, because the system that's been put in place hasn't been changed since its first introduction back in 2017. Because a lot of the reasons why players were even able to be reported in the first place is back in 2017 during the episode 5 release, the ban system was not in place. Players would go AFK for so long during Buster Quest that it just made them unfun to play. Then Sega realized that they need to introduce some sort of report feature. And while I don't think that having these features are a bad thing, I do think that it's time for them to be updated to match the current state of video games, at least in the bare minimum level of communication that other games have grown players to expect. Because while longtime Phantasy Star Online 2 players may understand and enjoy the current things that are going on right now, and a lot of them chalk it up to par for the course, a lot of newer players or even people who started with New Genesis are now beginning to realize that things are incredibly different. And it's okay to be able to take some of the pages out of other companies' books when you are also the one who wrote some of those pages. I know there's always going to be ways for people to be able to harmfully manipulate these systems, but finding out as many different ways to be able to protect innocent players whenever they are banned, that's what we should be worried about here. Like with every other system that's currently in Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, I have to urge anybody who's listening, ask Sega or even Sega yourselves, make communication a priority when it comes to these systems. More communication is not a bad thing, and it'll never be a bad thing, but if you wind up keeping so many players in the dark, especially when it comes to decisions like this during the ban process, when it's so vague that the only thing you see is an error code on screen, it begins to worry people and create some unnecessary stress that most of us currently in the world don't need. But anyway, that's the end of this conversation that I'm currently having right now, because I want to go back to entertaining people. I like playing video games and I like enjoying the entertainment side of YouTube and Twitch. I also enjoy giving news and my opinions out there as well, but at the same time, when it becomes such a negative topic like this one, nobody wins. But hey, maybe I'm wrong here. Anyway, like I said, that's my last talk on this conversation. I will see you guys next time. Stay awesome, stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.